Good afternoon, good evening, or maybe you're just listening during a good night. However you're tuned in, we appreciate you being with us on Behind the G, a podcast for Red Elephants by Red Elephants. I'm Gainesville grad, current GHS Sports Information Director, KDB Davis. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, GHS Athletic Director, Adam Lindsey. On this week's episode, we're going to be joined by our Director of Cheer at Gainesville, Brett Dillin, and have arguably the most important vibe check in the young life of this podcast with Red Elephant football coach Josh Niblett. Before we bring in our guest, though, we're going to take a minute to pull from the trunk names of our most recent alumni who had notable weekends of college competition and share a couple of unpopular opinions, or maybe just one. We'll see when we get there. Two segments we really want to make standard practices here on Behind the G. Before we get into it, though, if you aren't already following us on social media, please do so. At Go Red Elephants is our handle on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and our new student-athlete-led TikTok. Also, make sure you've got our website, GoRedElephants.com, bookmarked to keep up with who we're stomping lately, team rosters and schedules, and see photos from all of our athletic events. And while you're at it, download our app. How about it? Just search Gainesville Athletics at the Apple Store or Google Play and roam with the Red Elephants wherever you go. Now, Adam, before we talk about our alumni from this past weekend and share our thoughts on a few hot-ish topics, let's get in the way far back machine and go back to Friday's loss to Carrollton. Your takeaway.
Well, I was obviously we want the win. We want the win, and I felt like we had our opportunities that we just didn't follow through with. But I was pleased to see some kids play really well. I'll start with Kareem Hughley.
Yeah,
I thought Kareem was throwing dimes in the first three quarters. There were dropped balls, but they weren't his fault. I can tell you that. So I was really, really pleased with him. In the fourth, we got behind. We're trying to make things happen. You push a little bit, and got ourselves into a little bit of trouble. But really thought P.J. Lewis, the second running back. I feel like that was a good game for him. He's a little more patient. Pushes his way through the line a little bit more. I was really pleased with him. How about that catch by
my gracious, Cam? It was ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
That's a Sports Center highlight.
And
catch right there.
We in discussions about the game in the aftermath, you said this, and I think it was perfect. Like, that catch is going to get him a scholarship somewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
That catch, yeah.
That was a highlight reel. That is a leading highlight on a highlight reel.
And it wasn't an accident. He didn't whoopsie into catching that ball. Yeah. It was great body positioning. Mm-hmm. Got himself away from the DB just enough, and caught the ball at its height.
Yeah,
unreal.
Exactly how you teach it. Offensively pleased with those guys. Got to give props to Darren Boo Williams for his pick six.
Yeah,
very timely. That certainly gave us a shot in the arm to kind of help us get us going at the right time. But the rest of the defense played well. I struggled early, but I think we figured some things out as the game went along. A couple of key sacks by Xavier and Jamarion. To kind of keep us where we needed to be. And at the end of the day, in the fourth quarter, we had the opportunity to do the things we needed to do, and we fell short. But at the end of the day, and we'll talk more about this with Coach Niblett, the goal was to use that game to springboard us, learn a lot about who we are and how we need to be successful to move us on to the next game. Because at the end of the day, your 4 non-region games, you want to win them all. But they're really practice for your region schedule, which starts this next week. So, all of our, as I said before, all of our goals are intact, and we're headed in the right direction.
And certainly something I can't wait to ask Coach Niblett about or talk to him about is the idea that last year at this time, how sort of disheartened we all were.
Yeah, I think we probably went into last year's game obviously a little overconfident. Sure. We thought we were better than we were. And we kind of self-destructed in that game. And we talk about it that, that game, kind of derailed the success of our season. You hate to put all that on one game, but it did, cause like the cards to fall and set us up for the rest of our season. This game was a very different attitude.
It was.
Our kids came out of it, positive. and that they're going to learn the things to put us in the right place moving forward. They know this is not going to derail our season
or define it. Yeah.
And so, we're in a good place. As much we want to win every single game we play, but we're in a good place. And
there's also something to be said for the opponent just being better on that night.
100%. I mean, it's
the
Carrollton.
Opponent just being better on that night.
They are number 3 in 6A, which may be underrated. And they're in the top 25 in the country.
Correct.
So a loss to them is, not to say to be expected. But they've earned that spot, and but again. We're learning. We're putting ourselves in the right place. Still
a lot of fun to watch those Red Elephants play on Bobby Gruen last Friday night. Again, the energy from the team, it is palpable. It is transient, and it does something to the whole spirit of the school when not just the football team is good, or your athletics as a whole are good, but when they treat each other with the selfless nature that our guys treat each other with. Like it just does something.
Well, and you're 100% right on that one. I have always said, and of course I'm being the athletic director, this is always going to be my opinion, but the tone that the football team, the athletic department sets the tone for the school year.
Absolutely.
And how the athletic department goes, it transitions over into the main building with whether you're talking about discipline or attendance or whatever academics, it all starts, for lack of a better way to put it, in the athletic department. So I feel like we're off to a good start in all those areas.
Definitely are. So you all know this, but we're going to keep telling you because it's a brag and we like to do that. We have the great fortune of getting to keep up with former student athletes currently competing in collegiate athletics. And we want to pull some names and notable information from the trunk, if you will. So who and what stood out to you this past weekend or since the last time we chatted?
Well, a couple of really good ones this week. Again, I mentioned Gavin Hall at Furman, having a great year so far as a sophomore, 152 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Gavin, to me, is got to be one of the most underrated running backs at that level. I love checking his stat lines, love watching him play. He's such a dynamic player. He's got an incredible future ahead of him. A big one, and I say this because I spent time watching, College Game Day, and they made a big deal out of the Pitt West Virginia game, and everybody picked Pitt. Only one person picked West Virginia. West Virginia pulled out the win, and again, we've got some red elephant on red elephant action there because you got Zion Ferguson, a corner for us, is playing for Pitt, and Nick Taylor played safety for us, was at West Virginia. So excited for those guys to get to see each other and play in big-time football. Also want to mention Jeremiah Thielander in the loss to Georgia on Saturday, very close game, ended up with 7 solo tackles. So he's playing at I guess this is his junior year.
Yeah.
He's playing at a very high level. But what about the game that you and I ended up going to on Saturday?
That's right. Murray State at Georgia State. Isn't that something? I never thought I'd spend a Saturday evening, a college football Saturday evening at Georgia State. And no offense to Georgia State, but they would have to be a Herculean football team to even get that stadium halfway to capacity. But anyway, obviously, you all out there listening, maybe most of you probably do, maybe you don't. My nephew, Baxter Wright, former quarterback here at Gainesville, second team guy at Murray State right now. And then, of course, we got Darius Cannon, former wide receiver here and special teams guy, who's having a great year for Murray State as a starting wide receiver. And so this was the first time I got to see Baxter in uniform. Mm-hmm. He got in. He played really, really well. Anybody who's watched him play for Gainesville knows when that boy tucks the ball and starts to run, watch out. Something special is about to happen.
He's going to find a way.
And he had a great game, scored a touchdown, got a 2-point conversion. But most importantly, after the game, was just happy.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, just happy.
Yeah.
And that more than any stat, more than any win, more than anything, boy, isn't that what you want to see out of all these guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And what a great night for Baxter and for Darius.
Oh yeah,
both team captains. Mm-hmm. They went out and team captains.
That's right.
Playing back in Georgia. Darius picks up 9 catches, Baxter scores his first collegiate touchdown.
And it was
what
really
a huge night.
And it was really cool in the little broadcast they had. And I don't know if it was the ESPN Plus guys. I don't know if it was the Georgia State guys. I don't know if it was the Murray State guys. But the play-by-play guy, the color commentator, when Baxter scored his touchdown, they both said that's what that red elephant does. We watched him play at Gainesville. We saw him do it here in this very stadium in the state championship game, and so that was really cool.
It was
to hear as well that you always want to be remembered. You want to be remembered by people around here, but it's really cool. It's really cool when the unexpected people remember you. So all around, a really great evening. Wish Murray State would have gotten the win, but that's neither here nor there. Because once again, we got to see our kids play.
Yep.
Whether it was on big time television, ESPN Plus, whether you were streaming. I know you've been streaming your daughter Avery's volleyball matches. She's having a great freshman year.
Yeah, getting a lot of playing time. Certainly not what you expect out of a freshman, but
right.
As we've talked about, she works her butt off. She does a great job, and she's getting that opportunity. This is what she's wanted to do since she was, I think, in 6th grade. So she's taken advantage of that opportunity. What's
been really cool to me, and we'll wrap this up with this. Blah, blah, blah. What's been really cool to me, and being intentional about following all of our young people who are playing at the collegiate level right now, is how much red elephant on red elephant crimes happening.
How crazy is that?
It's insane. I mean, it's been every week we've had. I go back to week 1 when Murray was at East Tennessee State, and you had Travion Watson and Darius and Bax, and then hearing about Nick and Zion, and of course at some point T-Lander's going to go get somebody. Bless their hearts, but at some point it's happening. So anyway, he's the new spokesman for
Hardee's. I mean, I've got to text him and ask him, like, so do you have like a gift card? You can go to any Hardee's and get free burgers.
Listen, I'd like to know what that deal's like. I will also say this: the boy got himself a haircut before they did the commercial. The hair was looking good.
Yeah, they sent him through hair and makeup.
They absolutely
we're
did.
going to figure this piece out.
That's so awesome.
But it was it was funny to watch him. He's on the field at Tennessee running around with a hamburger in his hand.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing about T-Lander, though. You remember this from that special 2022 season. I'd heard rumors about how hard he played. And then you're standing on the sidelines, and after almost every series, he's played so hard in that series, he's running over to the sideline and throwing up.
Yep.
This is not a kid that takes anything for granted.
No, and he's a sideline to sideline guy.
Yeah, he's earning everything he gets.
Yep, he deserves it.
So anyway, before we get to our guest and the rest of the show, Adam, you and I are forever stating aloud opinions. In fact, folks, for those who have never visited the Student Activity Center, never visited the athletic director's office here at the Student Activity Center on the beautiful campus of Gainesville High School, our offices are separated by a cinder block wall, but it's a very thin wall, simply because of our relationship. We very rarely do we actually get up and go talk to each other. We just sort of yell and say, and we just randomly talk to each other in that way. So that said, we state opinions thinking the other person's just listening.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not in the room, sometimes I'm not in the room, but we're still stating those opinions. We just have that kind of relationship. So I have no doubt the majority of our thoughts and conversations would be wildly uninteresting to the general public. Our unpopular opinions, though, will, if nothing else, spark conversations around the water cooler. And that's kind of what this is all about.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll lead to a comment or two on social media. We wouldn't mind, y'all interacting that way as well. So first, unpopular opinion segment. What you got?
Well, it goes back to I think you kind of got to give a little bit of the background, and I guess it was my first year here. Before me, I guess we were we've always been Nike school, and at that time we were gifted as part of the Nike grassroots program a set of black uniforms. As part of, it was a part of Deshaun's contract.
Correct.
At that time, everybody that was signed to Nike through their grassroots program, they gifted a free set of uniforms back to their school.
Right.
And at that time, I assumed Deshaun had picked them out. They're awesome. They have a red elephant hide on the sleeves. and those are by far our kids' favorites. But I'm always amazed by the comments that we get about wearing a black uniform, considering baseball has a black uniform, basketball has a black uniform, volleyball has a black uniform. Every team around here has a black uniform, but when football wears a black uniform, it's a problem. I just don't.
And I'll say this as the main purveyor of our social media feeds here at Gainesville High School. It amazes me that we'll post a full photo gallery or 10 or 12 pictures of a 49-7 win. Go Big Red, stands are full. Mm-hmm. Every word that is put in that social media post harkens back to the traditional standard of excellence we have, the greatest tradition we have, which is winning.
Yep.
We really try to maintain the brand. Well, we don't try to. We do. We maintain the brand. We honor the traditions we have. Inevitably, the first or second comment is, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it's something like this: hate the black uniforms, we're the red elephants.
Yeah.
And now it's not just on social media. People will come up to you.
Oh, yeah.
During a 49-7 win.
Yep.
During a 49-0 win. During a state championship game.
100%.
Hate the black uniforms, we're the red elephants. And you know what? You're absolutely right. We are the red elephants. Mm-hmm. What really tears me up, though, is most of the people making these comments, one I've never heard of. And I've been around here a long time. I'm a dyed-in-the-wool red elephant.
Yep.
I got the animal tattooed on my body with the trunk up. That's how big into the tradition I am around here. I'm not just a Gainesville graduate. I'm an actual red elephant. Most of the people making these comments or on social media or in person only showed up to the state championship game. Or they just graduated from Gainesville. They aren't really red elephants. They haven't been to an event. They haven't been to a band concert, a play. They haven't been to a sporting event. They haven't supported this school system in any way since they were a part of it. And they're the ones making the comments.
Well, and at the end of the day, we're in the kid business.
Yes, we are.
And we will always be respectful to the tradition. Red and white is the basis of our color scheme. Black is a part
Always
of our
has
color
been.
scheme.
Yep.
Gray is also a part of our color scheme.
Yep.
We don't use gray as much and don't anticipate that we would greatly. But at the end of the day, our kids really like the black uniforms.
They do.
So, we want our kids to play comfortable. We want them to, be excited about how they look, look good, play good. So at the end of the day, we're going to support our kids. And if that's what they want to do, I know Coach Niblett is real good about taking senior feedback about what they're going to wear each week, which goes to our jerseys, to our helmets, to the socks that they're going to wear.
Yeah.
Everything that they do is intentional. So at the end of the day, we're always going to honor and respect the tradition and those that have come before us. But we also want to make our kids happy too. They deserve that. They deserve that as well.
We do. And listen, traditions come and go based on progress, based on the waning of people's interests. And sometimes it's hard to let go of. Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
But hear me when I say, and I think this is really the thing that chaps my hind end, if you will, most. Gainesville's greatest tradition has always been that we win, and we laugh at our opponent while we're doing it. That has always been Gainesville's greatest tradition. That's why our brand is renowned. That's why it's not just the unique nature of being Red Elephants, the only mascot in the country. Red Elephants, we're the only ones. It's our tradition has been our standard of excellence. The tradition ain't the uniform on the outside. It's what you do in it.
Yep.
So, I encourage everyone, and I really mean this. This is not a negative thing. Maybe I hope it's an eye-opening thing. But I encourage anyone who, you see one of our positivity posts and you immediately want to meet it with, this negative soundbite about black uniforms. Think about why it matters to you in the first place. And the reason it matters to you is because this place mattered to you. Not the shirts that are this place, but this place. And then buy a ticket and come back to this place because you're always welcome here. But, our greatest tradition is winning. Not the uniform we wear while we're doing it. And again, I got a red elephant tattooed on my body. I'm as dyed in the wool as they come. I honor the traditions as much as anyone. And Adam and I fight all the time because he loves AI. And I just want the dadgum red elephant trunk up.
I knew this was coming up. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
But but what really matters at the end of the day is that we stay Gainesville.
Yep. And we keep that first tradition.
That first tradition.
That's
Gainesville versus everybody.
Yep.
That's the most important one. So yeah. Anyway, we've got a great show coming up, folks. Director of Cheer, Brett Dillin, is going to come up next. And then our vibe check with Coach Niblett. It's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss it. This is Behind the G. Make sure, if you haven't yet, that you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. @GoRedElephants is the handle. And bookmark our website, GoRedElephants.com, where you can find the latest news and photos from Red Elephant Athletics, plus roster and schedule information. Go Red Elephants on social media, GoRedElephants.com on the web. All the Big Red you can handle right at your fingertips. Welcome back to Behind the G, ladies and gentlemen. We're thrilled to have in studio with us, or in Adam's office, as it were, Brett Dillin, our director of cheer here at Gainesville High School. That includes spirit and competition cheer. Brett Dillin went to school in the north part of the county, spent a decade teaching in the south part of the county, and for the last 9 years, has had the pleasure of finally being in the county seat and a red elephant. Brett, welcome into the show. We're happy to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you.
So let's start with this. I want some of your background. I know our listeners want some of your background, and really how you got involved in cheerleading to begin with.
All right. Well, background is I have a soccer background.
Oh, nice. That tracks.
Yeah, it really does. Played soccer my whole life. Coached it down in the south end of the county, as you said.
Yes.
In college, girlfriend was a cheerleader at Georgia Southern. I knew how to do a backflip, and she was coaching the middle school at the time down there as well, and wanted to keep dating. I had to come teach those girls how to do flips.
Oh, wow.
So
Can you still do a backflip?
it is diminishing returns, so I want to not be doing that. No. Those days are long gone.
That's really interesting because I just kind of assumed, and I don't know why, and nor do I know why we haven't had a conversation about this before, but I just sort of assumed you were involved in cheerleading in some capacity, but you were just like a super athletic boyfriend guy.
That was about it. We owned a gym in the private sector there for many years, and then had the opportunity to come here to Gainesville to help start the competition program back up, and been going strong ever since.
What? So the competition, you started the competition program in 2017 when you got here, 2017, 2016 ish.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah, 2017.
So I gotta know. And again, when I say north part of the county, we know he went to North Hall. Okay, we're just gonna leave it at that. He went to North Hall. He taught at Flowery Branch for a long time. But what made you want to come to Gainesville and start this process?
I have never actually lived and worked in the same community, and so for the opportunity that came up. It just sounded like a great thing. We'd already moved my daughter to Enoda at the time, so she was the last kindergarten class at the old Enoda. So that was a fun.
That's
fact.
wonderful, yeah.
So I had the opportunity to do that, and just for everybody to be on the same schedule, and just to start something from scratch, sounded very intriguing.
So one of the things that the director of cheer, you oversee all of our cheer programs, 6 through 12. But talk to us a little bit. I know you head up right now football, cheerleading, spirit cheerleading, but also competition and game day. Can you talk a little bit about what competition entails and what the difference between competition and game day is?
Competition is going to be similar to like your all-star routines. It's your 2 minutes, 30 seconds. You have different skill sets you got to hit throughout it on the score sheet, which has gotten increasingly harder each year. So it's a tough one, especially in the classification we're in. It's tough. Mm-hmm. But the difference between that and game day is going to be pretty much a mixture of a competition routine and what you see on Friday nights, is putting it all together. You have certain elements that you have to hit in it. You see it increasingly more, these type of routines with colleges now. And it's worked its way down to the high school. It's been in other states, but Georgia's recently adapted it, partnered up with Varsity Spirit. So it's been a nice addition, especially you don't see as many elements like the running, tumbling's not part of it, but you see the crowd engagement. You still have your athletic skills with your tumbling, your stunting, all of that. But they give you different situational things that you have to do as well. It's been fun. We've placed in the top 10 in state once. We just missed out last year by like 0.6 of a point, so that was a bummer. But got a lot back from last year, so excited to see how we do this year with it.
When you are preparing for competition cheerleading and you're having those trials, honestly, as an athletic director, my worst time of the year. But Brett does a great job of keeping that off my plate. But I know that's highly competitive. So what is it whenever you're putting together a team, when you're having those trials, what are you looking for out of those athletes?
A lot of it's strength and really mental fortitude. It takes a lot. We have to tell the girls when we start off, you're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot before you get it right. The stunting, it's the skills have increasingly gotten harder. If we to compare it to like all-star, like a level 6, if you think gymnast, you think top-level gymnast. That's the skills. That's what it is across the state for Georgia. In our area, we have a lot of girls that it's still brand new to them. So it's a lot of taking kids that might have come from a dance background, a gymnastics background. So they have some of the skill sets, but we have to put it all together to match what we need as far as what the state's looking for.
So we need to listen. We need to go Cliff Notes here, layman's terms here, and really just be candid about this. Most people, when they think cheerleading, they think sidelines, Bobby Gruen Field on a Friday night, and the 30+ young ladies we have out there trying to get the crowd to be raucous.
We got a bunch.
That we they think being in Davis Hill Gym for a basketball game, and our cheerleaders just absolutely blowing out of the water any other cheer team, school that comes in with their the way they both step and the cheers they do and all that kind of stuff. So when it comes to competition cheer, and I've seen you all perform a few times, the gymnastics that's involved is really mind-blowing. And to think that you came here to start that with no net, as it were. So how do you build? I mean, that's really specific.
It is. It's a tough school. A lot of it takes these girls, and we've had boys in the past. It takes a lot of them doing a lot of the training outside of school as well, and it's literally a year-long process. You start the season, kind of what skills you've got is what we're going to have to work with and work around and build on our strengths and kind of hide whatever weaknesses we would have. But the real training for that goes when the season's over. We've selected teams. Hey, now it's time. There's a lot of great facilities outside of the school that people were able to go do and work at to perfect those skills. We have one day a week right now where we go to a professional training tumbling gym down in the south end of the county for them to work at, and that's actually tonight. So just the kids putting in that extra effort, again, outside of practice,
right,
is what's been great to see. And it's been a learning curve for a lot of them because they've never had to do it before. They've always, been good at what they're at, and now we're asking them to do something extra.
Yeah.
So being able to have kids that are willing to do that and parents that are willing to help with that, that's a big part of it. I can't thank our parents enough for being supportive.
It's not cheap and it's not convenient.
No doubt.
It is neither one of those.
Well, and I was going to kind of piggyback on that with another question, asking about, we've talked to other coaches and they talk about how their kids have to train year round. They have to, skill build year round. I don't know a whole lot about, and I would assume our listeners don't either, what outside of school cheerleading looks like. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We've got a couple girls that are also on all-star teams. So if I was to relate to travel baseball, been a parent on travel baseball, it is every bit as time-consuming as that for all-star cheer. So that's where a lot of them get a lot of that extra experience. I've had the privilege of coaching some of our athletes now that are seniors when they were younger as far as an all-star team. So it's been fun to see them grow from that. But it's time-consuming. Again, it's where that mental fortitude comes in as well. Because then it comes with a lot of failure before you get that right. Even once you finally pick up that skill, all right, cool, you've got it. Now you've got to perfect it.
Yeah. The specialization just sort of blows my mind, and I want to go in a different direction, but also say this as a compliment to you. I don't know where the cheer program was prior to you coming to Gainesville. Obviously, competition was non-existent. And so the way you've built that has been remarkable. But the number of young ladies we have come out to cheer on the sidelines at Bobby Gruen, at basketball games, that want to be a part, that want to facilitate, a rally, as it were, rallying cries. You've got a great number of young ladies. It just seems to keep growing.
I think a lot of that comes to is we have a well-rounded program between football spirit, basketball spirit, competition, us offering game day. We adopted game day in the first year that they made it available. So thank you, Coach Lindsey, for letting us do that as well, for taking that on. Because I just kind of hit him up with, I was like, hey, they've got this new thing. We want to do it. And he said, Let's do it.
Yeah.
Run with it. But not just that, it's being well-rounded. There's different aspects of it. Football, we have the more traditional style cheerleading and all that. Basketball, we've got stomp and shake. So we've kind of got something for everybody.
Yeah.
Competition, we have some girls that do competition only, because again, they're doing also that travel version of it. There's a lot of overlap to it towards the end of the season. But just having all that available and having great coaches that are doing it now. We've had some great coaches in the past as well. Between Coach Thompson, we've had Coach Shank before I came here. She did a great job of setting that up. Miss Helen Perry, who I met her when we had the gym and we're working with her then. So it had a great base to start with. But what I do know, when we came, they had been kind of ground bound. We didn't have any stunting that was going on. So that was building that back up and just building the trust that they had to have and teaching those basic skills to go from there and see what we've become to where we're extended stunts every Friday night. We're working on different versions of it. This past Friday, we started a mini version of what we would do in game day during the fourth quarter. So they're doing more of a collegiate style toss and release. I mean, straight up, straight down, learning that and just seeing the girls. It's a lot when you're out there on Friday nights to try something new for the first time and them going for that. So
and in front of your peers. I mean, they're sitting in front of the student section. That doesn't go well with. It didn't go well doing it when I was a teenager. I can't imagine it does with them.
We're learning a lot of cheerleading lingo too.
Oh, yeah.
We are.
We're going to have to add this to our vocabulary.
So he says stunting, and the only thing I just keep calling it gymnastics. Like, what they do is gymnastics.
Yeah, tumbling.
I got to give a shout out to Larry Miller and the band too, because they are actually great supporters of us out there on Friday nights as well. The interaction between band and cheer, just building off of each other and picking up different things. It's made Friday nights, even more fun. From Elephant Walk to fourth quarter till the end of doing all the band dances, which the band started doing some new ones that they've been working on. Oh, our girls were super excited to be doing those.
All in.
Larry Miller is the best. Can't say enough about him and the Big Red Machine. Coach, one more thing. Talk to us a little bit about your competition schedule as it's coming up and how, because competition is judged. Yep. People are giving you a score. There's no points, anything, So tell us how that works and what your schedule looks like.
Our first one we've got coming up, Secondier on the 2nd. I want to say the 2nd. Sounds about right off the top of my head. So
it's a good number.
About 2 weeks.
It's October 4th.
Yeah, so it's coming up. But literally, they've got a score sheet for each section, whether you got stunting, standing tumbling, running tumbling, your overall composition, dance, cheer, all of that. Jumps. We break down each section at practice and try to master each one. You can ask girls yesterday, kind of got a reality check when I'll record part of their sections and we'll post it on our online platform for them to hey, straight up fix this.
Y'all do film study. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Again, that's one of those things that nobody knows about.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a wake up call for some. Even they're like, oh my God, I didn't know I looked like that. I was like, I did. I was like. And it's just one of those things that you have to. It's muscle memory at that point too, because we'll do choreography in the summer. We started in June, and going from there. Everybody's super excited then. But like any season, any sport, you hit a lull when you keep doing something over and over. And little things slip, and then you kind of got to remind them on that. And like any other sport, we deal with injury as well. Mm-hmm. So working through that, we've got one girl coming back. Should be coming back this Friday, so hopefully that's excited about that for the competition side. And again, we have the girls that do they'll do football and comp and basketball, and they get worn down. But, again, that mental fortitude and coming through on that. And speaking about just, being judged in competition, a lot of these girls that are out there, it's a high pressure. And coming from an athletic background, it's a lot. I don't envy them out there.
Right.
Especially as a coach. It's not like you can coach them during the routine. You just kind of got to sit there and just cheer them on at it. Whether things are going right or things are, something messes up, it's, hey, get up, get to the next part, And we practice that too. Like we practice hey, if something messes up here, what's your next thing you've got to do? Mm-hmm. You've got to get up, you've got to get back to the next part. And we run through that just like, it's like a busted play in football. You have to know what to do next. So
that's impressive. And I want to wrap up our conversation with a bit of a personal note. I want to ask you a bit of a personal question.
Right.
But before we do that, folks, follow our cheer program on social media at @RedElephant_cheer. They do a phenomenal job of highlighting their student athletes, of putting out game day graphics, of really trying to rally the community to come to whatever sporting event Gainesville's holding. And they also do a really great job of painting the rock. So make sure that you're going by and looking at that as well. Competition cheer season begins October 4th at Seconder, but the big deal is October 22nd when we host the Big Red Cheer Classic. It is a wild and hairy event. I don't mean hairy literally. I mean there are tons and tons and tons of people.
A lot of hair gets vacuumed up off the floor.
It's an insane. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. It's an absolutely insane event. Runs all day long. They have cheer from like 4 years old up through high school. An incredible event that Brett and his staff put on each year, and it's happening October 26th right here at Gainesville High School. So as we wrap up with you, of course, behind the G, yes, we want to know how you're doing and what competition cheer looks like and all that kind of stuff. But we also want people to get to know you. And you've got 3 kids, 2 teenagers, Alexa and Mason, and then you've got Brooks. And you mentioned early on in our conversation that you had never worked in a community in which you were involved in and lived in.
Yep.
And your kids are heavily involved in this school system.
Absolutely.
It is, I don't want to say it's common practice, but it is a noticeable practice that some people live in this community, work in this community, and their kids aren't involved in this community. Yep. They're involved in another community. What makes this place so special for the Dillin kids that they want to be here and that you want to keep them here?
We've had great teachers. They've got friends here. For Blackbird, my daughter has been all over Gainesville and the county. She started off at the south end of the county with me, and we were able to move her up here. I can tell you right now, to the Noda at Halloween. And since then, it's not been. She hasn't looked back.
Yeah.
It's been awesome to be able to coach her. I've always said I've never wanted to coach my kids. I find myself in that position now. I've actually coached 2 of them. I coached my son in baseball as well. But they love everything about it. Whether it's, Brooks, God bless him, I love him. He's my feral child. So you can find him running around Gainesville High School. You can find him running around City Park on Friday nights, all and around. They just love everything about being a Red Elephant and all that entails and the prestige that comes with it. I can say, I love my time when I was in high school. I loved my, being part of that community and living there and growing up there. I've gotten 0 complaints, nothing but gratitude.
Absolutely.
My time in the south end of the county, I got to work with amazing staff, had great students. But the prestige that comes with being here at Gainesville it's second to none. And I'm glad to have my kids be a part of that. My whole family, we're a legacy Gainesville family. Both my mom and my dad, graduates of Gainesville High School. We were I like to say we're the redhead stepchild for a matter. We were the ones that went to the county school, but we came back here and it's been great. I love having them here, loving being a part of it. Excited for what all that entails for them, for what they can get out of it, what we offer here at the high school, which a lot of other schools don't. From the opportunities athletically, academically, just geographically, how close we are to things, and it's been amazing.
I gotta say, as we finish this out, what amazes me is how you have built spirit here. This place grew in the blink of an eye, and you can lose a lot of yourself with growth that comes that quickly.
Yep.
And Brett has spearheaded, along with a few other people.
I cannot take sole credit for that.
Notably, my co-host here, Adam Lindsey, spearheaded bringing spirit keeping tradition back at Gainesville High School. And I appreciate you for that.
You're welcome. Again, it takes a lot of people doing that, and this, cheerleading. It's year long, between football season, comp, and basketball. Coach Finkley does an awesome job, and Coach Stevens, she does JV football and basketball, so she's in it full time. Does a great job of building those kids up. Coach Turner, who's been with me for the past 3 years, doing a great job raising her babiys now,
and doing literally everything else,
and everything else. She is an amazing part, and she's a major part of that. I can't thank everybody enough that's been a part of that. Stacia was an amazing part of that while she's here before moving on to central office in another county. And again, had a great base to build off of with Coach Shank and Coach Thompson and Coach Perry, still being while she was still here working. Had a lot of minds to be able to ask questions and say, hey, what's most important here that we keep? And then, some things, we can change some things. And what can we build upon and make upon that? And, it's been nice to be able to get, alumni, input on that. And I think they've appreciated that as well. And just being able to build on that. And, we'd like to just keep building on that and then going from there.
I'm glad your kids are Red Elephants. Brett Dillin, I'm glad you're a Red Elephant. Thanks for being with us on Behind the G today.
Thank you so much.
The continued success of Red Elephant Athletics is due in large part to the support given by our Gainesville community through their membership to the Gainesville Athletic Club. The GAC serves all of our GHS programs with funds providing the necessary equipment and gear, among other things, that ensure our student athletes continue receiving a Division I experience in high school. Learn more and become a GAC member today by visiting GoRedElephants.com. Red Elephant football goes on the road for the first time this season and opens up Region 7-5A play Friday when they take on the Longhorns at Lanier. Every week in the life of Behind the G, thus far, we have had the pleasure and privilege of welcoming in GHS football coach Josh Niblett for a vibe check. And the interest in the football program's vibes this particular week is very high, as Big Red is coming off its first loss after 3 games to open up 2025, in which all around, defense, offense, they looked really good. So first and foremost, Coach, welcome into the show as per usual.
Thank you.
Secondly, your take on last week.
Well, I think the biggest thing is going into the game, everybody played it as a big game, and it was a big game. I think the key to it is we had our opportunities. We probably didn't play as well as I would have wanted to early. We talked about all week about letting it rip, and I felt like we had a little bit of anxiety maybe coming out of the gate, trying to fill it out a little bit. But our kids played their tails off. I thought we matched them, and then, we go in, it's 22 to 8, at halftime. And, thing I told the kids was, I'd like, what were you hoping? Like that they were going to show up and let us go up 40 on them, you know? They're coached up too, and they're playing for the same thing you're playing for, and that's a W. So I told our kids there's nothing better than having some adversity. And I thought our kids came out in the third quarter. We outscored them 13-0. And then, we had a critical situation within the game. There was a lot of critical situations in the game. And you can go back to point to all of them and evaluating the film, but, it's 22-21. We just need to convert on a third down. We don't get the conversion. They end up taking that one down and scoring. We go back down again to answer, and then we have a turnover. And then, we're trying to make a play at the end of the game, and they have the pick six. So we were where we wanted to be. I wouldn't say we started out like we wanted to start.
Right, yeah.
But I think the other thing is this, too, and I don't ever make up excuses, all right, but I do high truth, high love. We had a lot of guys playing in that game that's never been in a big game and never played against an opponent of that caliber. So I think it was a big game for us, but for them, I think it was just the next game for them.
Yeah.
And you could tell their kids were a little bit more relaxed than ours. But the greatest thing about it, KDB, is we're going to learn from it. We're going to grow from it because we're going to play in some more big games. And for our guys to take that pain, just that little bit of experience of what they dealt with and be able to tap into it later on when we need it is going to be awesome.
For those Red Elephants who are not at Bobby Gruen Field on Friday night, when GHS took on Carrollton and simply saw the score or heard about the score or was kind of listening on the radio or whatever the case may be and didn't actually watch the game in person. Final score not indicative of how close the game actually was. It's hard to describe to people what well coached looks like. It's hard to describe to people what good looks like, because especially in this community, you immediately want to look at the team that lost and go, well, what's wrong with us? And sometimes it's not about what's wrong with you. It's about how well the other your opponent played, or whatever the case may be. Give folks an idea of the caliber. You mentioned caliber of team. The caliber of team we faced last Friday night, and speak on the score, not the final score, not being indicative of actually how close we were to them.
Well, I think when you go into games like that to me felt like a third round playoff, semifinal playoff game, right? I mean, where there's two really, really good opponents, going to be coached extremely well, going to have good athletes, have good players, going to run a good scheme. It's going to be a chess match. But I think when you play them, the thing that you have to realize when you play really, really good teams is who are their difference makers, right? On offense, who are they trying to get the ball in their hands? And I had a couple of guys that, they're matchup nightmares. And when they put them both on the same side of the field, they kind of cut the field in half. And those two are really, really good players. And they're running back, just the stature of him. He was a shorter guy, but just thick, strong. So there was a couple of times in the game where they run some gap stuff. He gets kind of hid behind in there. So when we're trying to fit it on gaps, we might be a little bit wide. He's able to get vertical. But, that to their credit, I mean, they do have good players, and they're athletic and big up front. And they can stretch the field vertically. And when you can stretch the field vertically on people, you're going to kind of dictate what you want to do. And then I think defensively, when you look at them, their box is just, it's salty. I mean, we use that adjective a lot. Like, they're active, they're physical. And then on the back end, they just have length. And, they take their best receiver, they put him at free safety, and they just let him run and go make plays, and he can. But I thought once we settled in and made adjustments that we needed to make, then I think we matched them, which was exciting for me because, as a head football coach, when I go home and see my wife every week, I'm always the one that's like, I don't know this week. I mean, like we're going to play really, really good, but you hope you're better than what you think you are. All right. But you work like you're not close to where you should be.
Right.
And I think that's the way we try to evaluate it in our building with our kids. And I think our kids do a really good job of evaluating. And I'll tell you what I was proud of the other night. And special teams. Well, their kicker, their punter, I mean, when you talk about a guy that can flip the field.
Yeah, real deal. Mm-hmm.
Dion came up to me before the game. He said, Coach, we've got to put Phil at 50. I mean, he said 50 from the line of scrimmage because he is booming them. And we pressured him one time and got him to kind of kick one off the side of his foot, which was huge. And they were good on special teams. I mean, they had returned a punt back for a touchdown. I thought our coverage teams did good, except for once they returned one back to the 40. But that was also after we kicked the ball in the end zone and they had a penalty flag for saying that we didn't wait on the whistle to be, play be blown into play before we kicked it. But I was proud of our kids of hanging in there. Nobody pointed fingers. We went in at halftime. Nobody was arguing. Everybody was just like, hey, man, we got to play better. Like, it's not what we're doing. It's like what we're doing to ourselves.
Yeah. Oh,
and I thought after we got done that, we talked about it as a group. Like, we know that this game can be something that gives us a shot in the arm either way, and we need to approach it that way.
So, Coach, in your program, you always talk about we want to be in the fourth quarter and have a shot to win it in the fourth quarter. And, with the way we started, the way we came back, the way we played in the third quarter, it was 22-21 going into the fourth quarter. And, so right where we wanted to be. How much do you think or not think that the fact that we really haven't played a four-quarter game up until that one, which was a big game, had any effect on our play in the fourth quarter or how the ball bounced?
And you and I talk a lot, right? I mean, like, I could say that, and that'd be an awesome reason, for why we just didn't finish it. But look, when we practice every day, there's a rhyme for what we do and the workloads that we try to get into our guys. Do I think not playing in a four-quarter game could have? Well, I mean, we just hadn't played in a four quarter, so somebody else would have to make that evaluation. I'm not going to sit here and make that evaluation because I want our players to be ready to play four quarters no matter what. I think the biggest thing was within that moment, I think the neat thing about it was, like, I did a deal on Monday about, like, what did we learn, right? I mean, our whole deal now is how do we respond? Well, how we're going to respond is respond to what we learned. So one of the responses off the four were, when you get the momentum, you can't give it back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially late in the game. Look, it's we get the pick six, all right? Now,
God, that was an awesome moment.
the hard part is we don't hit the PAT field goal.
Yeah.
So we let them off the hook because if we tie it, they're still holding their breath.
Yep.
But when we missed it, they kind of let their breath out a little bit and relaxed. Well, when it went to 22-21, we get a 3 and out. I mean, we get the sack on the guy. So, we got the ball back. Now, if we can go down and score, we can allow ourselves a chance now to kind of just take over the game and put them in a situation they hadn't been in either. But it didn't happen that way. But hopefully down the road, we learn from it and then we can fix it.
So I always get the opportunity, Coach and I get a few minutes after the game, sometime whether it's on the field or in the locker room, we get a chance to kind of chat and catch up on the game. And usually, as to would be expected after a loss, Coach not really in the greatest mood.
Yeah.
And not that you were in a good mood this week, but you were more optimistic than I feel like I've ever seen you after a game, certainly after a loss, because you felt like there was a lot to learn. Our season starts this week, really, when it boils down to it. That loss doesn't affect our season, doesn't affect our goals, doesn't affect what we're trying to do. But you were very poignant about talking about we're going to learn a lot from this game. That was two great teams playing each other. We're going to learn a lot from this game to move forward. So what really, in the end, did you pull from that game that's going to help us move forward?
Well, we talked about how we got to play, like there has to be more of a sense of urgency early, right? I mean, like you got to play with some extreme effort. Like we played with great effort, but we need to play with extreme effort. Like it's just at a whole nother level, right? I mean, to get a takeaway on defense early or to get a 3 and out, don't allow them to stay on the field. Offensively, we got the ball, keep moving the sticks, play with unbelievable tempo to where we gas them early and then get down there and score. I mean, if you go back and you look at the stats, which I say stats are for losers, but like if you look at the stats, I mean, we outgained them, total offense. We had 21 first downs in the game and we had 73 snaps. I mean, that's a lot of snaps in high school football. And those were with a couple of drives that we should have kept establishing that we didn't. And we had a couple of miscues early where, nobody hates it worse than the person that it happens to, right? Yep. And so we had some opportunities. We didn't make the most of them, but our guys will learn from it. But I appreciate you saying that because I'm not the greatest person to talk to after the game. Ask my wife, she only asks for pictures after wins. She knows not to ask for after a loss. But I do appreciate the fact for you being in there and just being an ear, because, I'm not looking for somebody to come up and go, hey, it'll be all right, Coach. I don't want to hear that. I want you to tell me, hey, man, y'all need to get better,
Yeah.
Because I'm telling myself that. But I think our guys learned from it, and I like the way our guys came back this week, ready to go to work, and I'm excited about what they're going to put on the field Friday night.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of those players. You said, a lot of our guys have not played in big games, and most certainly they hadn't played together in big games. And I was so impressed with how our quarterback, Kareem Hughley, how he played, the poise he had, because he is, listen, that's the guy. A quarterback on any team is the guy.
Right.
And he's never played in a big game. The way he played was unbelievable to me.
Well, and I was proud of him. And I think the neat thing about it now is in the second year in our offense and the expectations, the standard we have in the quarterback room is now it's about, like in the fourth quarter situations, it's about the decisions that you make, right? As a quarterback, it's not really the throws you make. The throws you make are early.
Yeah.
And he made 2 fantastic throws, the one to Cam in the corner of the end zone, the one to Nigel. If anybody didn't get to see that, was pretty awesome. You don't get to see a whole lot of those guys make throws like that. And his whole thing is like he wants to learn, right? Mm-hmm. And he's trying to learn through every situation. And I think that's the difference between him last year and him this year now is it's the situation now. Mm-hmm. It's not about trying to execute the play. It's about, hey, the situation is going to put us in a better situation. And that's what he continues to do. But I was proud of him. And a lot of people don't understand, like, that guy, that guy that's catching the snap, I mean, him and the center are usually the only two that touch the ball every play.
Yeah.
And our offense goes through him, and he did an excellent job. And there's things he's got to get better at that he knows that probably wouldn't show up the first 3 games. But now when you're playing really good opponents that give you different looks and do a lot of different things, because there was a lot of adjustments we had to make during the game based off of what we were seeing because they changed a lot of stuff.
We'll get to Lanier here in a second, folks. I absolutely promise you. But again, I'd be remiss. We have this theme every week during the vibe check, or at least I do. Maybe I'm the only one in the room feeling it and wanting to bring it up. But two moments that to me. The first time we had you on the show, first week of the show, we talked about last season, and you specifically mentioned the Carrollton game and how it derailed the season. How, looking back, that was sort of the linchpin for how the rest of the season went. You see Nigel Newkirk, who is a phenomenal running back, pick up a block to allow Kareem to make that pass.
Yep.
An unbelievable block.
Yep.
Servant leadership, selfless, completely selfless.
And that was one that, like, watching it on the sideline, we could all see that. We could see him coming, and then Nigel comes out.
Yeah.
of
And you know
nowhere.
what's great about it is like Kareem didn't even see it, see it behind him. He just trusted that somebody was, and really Nigel on that particular play was probably supposed to be out on a route, but ends up staying in and helping out. And
then I go to Darren Williams' interception.
Yep.
And not the play itself, which was obviously huge and a great read and pick 6, unbelievable. But again, the response of your team to that moment.
About knocked the fence down over
it was
there.
unreal. It was absolutely unbelievable.
And Adam wants to really get excited, but I could see his face when the whole group comes out of the team box. He's just like, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good.
It was.
Yeah.
So I go back to you saying Carrollton, in hindsight, the Carrollton game derailed us. 180 completely this year.
Yeah.
When you look at those little selfless things, no, you didn't win the game, whatever. Those little selfless things that are going to mean so much more
later
over the next 6 games.
And to you, I mean, and I really, really appreciate that. But like, if I held my fingers, my index finger and my thumb apart from an inch, I told our kids, like, hey, we're this close.
Yeah.
But here's the issue with that, is we're that far away too.
Yeah.
So I reserve the right to figure out, hey, we handled the loss better, all right? But how is that going to catapult what we want to do and elevate us the rest of the season?
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out this week, right? And a lot of people are going to have a lot of anxiety in our locker room because they want to go out and fix it, right? And I told them this week, look, just play mad. Play like you got something to prove, but understand the things that we wanted to fix last week, we got to get them fixed this week and just concentrate on that and us playing better, just us playing better. We can't control how good they play.
Yeah. So
I'm excited to see from an evaluation standpoint, like last year this time and this year this time, where are we?
And that's what's going to be great to see as we turn our eyes to Lanier region play. We're starting to now. We're now playing for a region championship. We're now playing for playoff seeding.
Yep.
And prior to you being here, you may not be aware, but Lanier's kind of always been a team that would kick us in the teeth, and they always have big linemen. They have big skill guys. Fortunately, over the last couple of years, we've been able to handle them. So, talk to us a little bit about what we're looking into Lanier week and what our team's going to look like and what you see out of Lanier.
Well, I think also the big thing was when we came in Monday, in June, our players came up with their goals, right, for the team. And the first one, was to win the opener. All right. Well, we've done that. All right. Well, our second goal is to win the region. Okay. Well, last week's got nothing to do with our second goal, right? So now it's going to take us 6 weeks to figure out if we obtain that goal. And then our third goal is to win the last game. Well, if you win the last game, you win a state championship. Yep. And so we want to make sure that we're in that position. All right. So that's kind of where we've moved our focus. Now, when you talk about Lanier, number one is you got to go on the road, first road game. All right. It's different than being at home. Right. And that's a whole nother element when you go over there. All right. You got about a mile to walk to the field. So you got to decide, do you go in for warm ups? Do you not go in? You go in at halftime? Do you not go in? So we'll have a plan for that. And then just you got some guys that have never been on the road with you, and the last time we went on the road, it didn't go good at North Gwinnett. So,
Sure. Yeah.
But I think this one will be different. And so we've talked a little bit about that. And I told them, if you want to win a championship, you got to win games on the road. Mm-hmm. And so I want us to take that attitude with what we're doing. Lanier, offensively, they're explosive. I mean, they're humongous up front. They're going to run the football, but they like to get it out on the perimeter. They got a receiver and they got a new quarterback that both those guys have done a really good job of trying to connect. Number 12 is a guy they want to get the ball in his hands. Big running back. It's not the same one from last year, but they're extremely efficient and explosive on offense. So we're going to do a really good job of tackling. Where at times last week we struggled with that a little bit at times, that we got to do a better job. And then defensively, their box is just so big. I mean, their defensive end's 315, and so I can't even tell you how much they average across the front. And then they're long on the back end. So, we've got to do a really good job of controlling the line of scrimmage and see if we can try to get those guys tired a little bit and then be effective on special teams, like change the game.
You and I talk about it all the time. There are just some schools that when you go play them, they're just going to have some monsters out there.
Well,
and Lanier is always one of them.
Well, what's crazy is like the first couple of years I didn't really, like when Bax and Sky and all them were playing, like when they were playing, I didn't like look down there and notice a whole lot. I knew they were big, but like last year in warm-ups, I looked down there and like they're 5 deep at D-line. And I mean, all those guys were like 280, 290. I'm like, good night. This is incredible.
Yeah, where do those kids come from?
That's what I'm saying. Where are they growing those?
They're mammoth. I mean, they are huge up front. But, like I said before, this week's about us. It's not about them, and it's a big game because we're playing in it.
First road game of 2025 for the Red Elephants. Coming up Friday, they take on the Longhorns of Lanier. Both teams coming in at 3-1. The kickoff will be at 7:30. You better be in the house. I know I can't wait to watch the Red Elephants play this Friday. Coach, always love having you on.
Hey, thank you. God bless you guys, and go Big Red.
Once again, a great vibe check with Coach Niblett. Adam, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see how we respond, but I also kind of don't have a doubt about how we're going to respond.
I know our kids are going to come out ready to play. They have something to prove, not just on the scoreboard, that we did learn something from this last week, and that we're going to continue to grow. As I've said multiple times, this week starts the games that matter.
Yeah.
We have to go out, as Coach says, we have to come out fighting first. We have to get them behind and, start preparing for the next big games that are coming up.
Absolutely. This Saturday, folks, after Red Elephants take their first road trip to Lanier for region football, on Saturday, volleyball is hosting their Big Red Rally, an annual huge tournament they have here. And we welcome you to come. Buy your tickets on GoFan. It's a day-long thing. They start at 9 a.m. They go all day. It is a wonderful event. Obviously, it's Coach Christina LeCurve's first time hosting it here. She puts on a great show for no one that's been to a volleyball match yet. And I'm not just talking about her coaching or the way her kids play. She does face paint. I don't even.
Yeah.
She had a friendship bracelet making thing stand.
Trucker hat making station last night.
She goes above and beyond. So get to Lanier on Friday night to see our Red Elephants. And then come by the Student Activity Center on the campus of Gainesville High School, see our volleyball team in action during the Big Red Rally on Saturday. As per always, we appreciate your time this week, Big Red. If you have any questions you'd like answered from us or our coaches and student athletes, if you have a great guest suggestion, or just a good one, or a man one, don't hesitate to reach out to me, katie.davis@gcssk12.net. Keep up with the Red Elephants on social media. I'm going to keep harping on this. We're at Go Red Elephants on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out everything we have going on via our website, GoRedElephants.com, and our Gainesville Athletics app. For myself, Katie B., and our athletic director, Adam Lindsey, we look forward to the next set of conversations as we take you with us next week behind the G.